The ballroom was silent. The kind of silence that doesn't just happen, it crushes down on you, heavy and suffocating. Chandeliers sparkled overhead, violins played softly in the background, and dozens of the city's most powerful figures shifted uncomfortably in their seats. At the front of the hall, standing by the microphone, was Mr. Takahashi, the Japanese billionaire whose presence could make or break entire corporations. His words flowed out quickly, elegantly, in Japanese. His tone carried authority, but no one in the audience understood him. Not the investors. Not the executives. Not even the event host who stood frozen, smiling awkwardly. The billionaire paused, waiting for a translation. But nothing came. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Beads of sweat formed on foreheads. This was supposed to be the deal of the century, an investment that would change lives. But the simple fact that no one had thought to bring a translator threatened to ruin everything. Mr. Takahashi's face tightened, his jaw clenching in visible frustration. He slammed his hand lightly on the podium, repeating his sentence with even greater intensity. His piercing gaze swept across the room, searching for anyone who understood. And then, it happened. A soft, almost trembling voice rose from the back of the room. I can translate, she said. Heads turned. Whispers spread like fire. It wasn't a polished executive or a powerful businessman who had spoken. It was Amara, the maid's daughter. 17 years old, dressed plainly, her hands clutching the hem of her dress nervously. Nobody had noticed her until now. Nobody ever did. But in that moment, every eye was on her. Amara's mother, Layla, worked as a cleaner for the hotel. Tonight, Amara had tagged along quietly, sitting in a corner of the grand hall while her mother handled her duties. She wasn't supposed to be there. She wasn't supposed to be part of this world. Yet, her life had always been shaped by listening, by learning quietly in the background. Her father had once been a language teacher before he passed away when she was just 9. He had taught her Japanese as bedtime stories, drilling words into playful games, teaching her to respect not just the sounds but the culture behind them. For Amara, it had always been their secret bond, a gift from her father she never thought she'd need. But tonight, it was about to change everything. The billionaire's sharp eyes narrowed on Amara. You, he asked in English, his accent heavy. She nodded, her heart hammering. Yes. I can translate. The room broke into hushed disbelief. The host stammered. "Yes, sir, she's just the maid's daughter." But Takahashi raised a hand to silence him. Let her try. And so, Amara stepped forward. Her legs shook as she walked down the long aisle, but there was a fire in her chest. She remembered her father's words, language is respect. When you speak to someone in their tongue, you speak to their soul. Standing before the billionaire, she took a breath. Takahashi repeated his opening sentence in Japanese. Without missing a beat, Amara translated flawlessly into English. The crowd gasped. The words were not just accurate, they carried the tone, the emotion, the depth. It was as though the billionaire's spirit flowed through her voice. Takahashi's eyes lit up with surprise and respect. Very good, he said softly in Japanese. You honor your father. Her breath caught. How did he know? But there was no time to wonder. He continued speaking, and she translated sentence after sentence, idea after idea. The room, once drowning in silence and shame, now buzzed with life. Deals were being understood. Visions were being shared. All because of her. But Amara's challenges didn't end there. As the conversation deepened, she realized she wasn't just translating words, she was translating worlds. Takahashi was a man of deep tradition, using proverbs, subtle hints, and cultural nuances that could easily be lost if she wasn't careful. She had to think quickly, adjusting his tone into phrases the businessman could grasp without stripping away the meaning. Her nerves threatened to break her, but she steadied herself. She remembered the nights she and her father studied, the stories of Japanese samurai honor he told her. This was no different. She wasn't just a maid's daughter tonight, she was a bridge. Yet not everyone was pleased. Some executives whispered angrily at the back, dismissing her. A girl like her shouldn't be handling something this important. Others doubted her accuracy, thinking she was fabricating. The weight of judgment pressed against her like a storm. But every time she wavered, she looked at her mother, standing in the corner, tears brimming in her eyes, pride shining through. That was enough. The event stretched for hours. By the end, Takahashi was no longer fuming. In fact, he was smiling a rare, genuine smile. He bowed slightly toward Amara, a gesture of immense respect. "You have saved this evening," he said in Japanese. "Not them. You." The executives erupted in applause, some reluctantly, others wholeheartedly. Deals were signed that night, partnerships secured. But more than business, a lesson had been learned: greatness can come from the most unexpected places. Afterward, Takahashi approached Amara privately. "Your gift, don't waste it. Education, discipline, courage, these things will take you far. If you wish, I will sponsor your studies." Amara's heart nearly burst. All those years of feeling invisible, of being seen only as the maid's daughter, washed away in a single moment of recognition. But she shook her head softly, tears streaming. "I only want to make my mother proud. And honor my father." Takahashi's eyes softened. "Then you already have." Amara walked out of that ballroom changed. The whispers of doubt no longer mattered. She had spoken not just for herself, but for every person who had ever been overlooked, dismissed, or silenced. Her story wasn't about wealth or power. It was about courage. About stepping forward when nobody else would. About finding strength in the very thing that made her different. And that night, she learned a truth she would carry forever: sometimes, the smallest voice in the room is the one that changes everything. Sparkle's message to viewers, narration ending. Friends, if Amara's story touched your heart, I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt underestimated, only to surprise everyone with your hidden strength? Share your story in the comments below. I promise, your words might inspire someone who needs it today. And if you believe in kindness, courage, and stories that remind us of the power inside each of us, don't forget to subscribe to Be Kind Always. Because together, we can keep spreading stories that lift hearts, heal souls, and remind us that kindness is the greatest strength of all.